Hey friend, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Alex and I'm so happy you're here. So in today's video, I am going to be doing the $1,000 Sephora tag. So in essence, what that means is that I'm gonna go through my Sephora basket in which I've racked up $1,000 worth of things. And these are things that if money were no object, I'd go ahead and buy them. So this tag was started by Noel, and I've seen some of my other favorite YouTubers participate in as well, like Sarah Rose. So yeah, I figured I'd jump on in and share what I've added to my basket. So if you're excited to see what I would buy with $1,000 whole of money were no object, just keep on watching. The first item I added to my basket is the Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palette in the shade Pillow Talk. It's a little quad and I'm pretty sure it's like 2 mattes and then 2 shimmers, and the colors are just perfect. It's like really small. Some of the YouTubers that I watch, for example, Jessica Braun has it and she's always raving about it, and it just seems like a perfect everyday easy palette. I also added the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury, which is essentially like it's like foundation meets a liquid highlighter. It's not quite as, or that's what it seems like. I've never tried it. But it's essentially like you would want to put it on the high points of your face, maybe under your foundation or over your foundation, to kind of have a little bit of shine through. And I'm dying to try it. I feel like it's just gorgeous, and every time that I see people using it, I'm like, me wants, me wants. This whole video is gonna be just me being a little kid being like, I want it, I want it. I am very grateful for the things that I own, but sometimes it's nice to fantasize. The next thing that I have is the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a kind of a liquid or cream contour stick. So it kind of comes in those weird containers where there's a little sponge that gets wet at the end, and then you would like dot it on kind of the points of your face where you would want to contour. And generally speaking, I am not very deep in the world of liquid contouring or liquid blushes or liquid highlighters. I've just historically always used powders for those kinds of products. But I don't know, like I feel like I wear my makeup fairly glowy. So I should start dabbling in these kinds of products because I think that I would really enjoy them. So yeah, that's one that, again, other YouTubers that I watch enjoy it, and it just seems like something I would enjoy. Up next is another Charlotte product, but I'm pretty sure this is the last one, and that is their Filmstar Bronze and Glow Contour Duo. This is definitely something that I could see myself using. It is a bronzer. I love bronzer. I am a bronzer girl. I want to try all the bronzers in the entire world. I want to bathe in bronzer. I love bronzer, okay? Okay. So it is the bronzer, but it also has a highlighter shade, and I'm not much of a highlighter girl, but I am trying, like today, for example, I am wearing highlighter, and I'm starting to get into it, and I feel like I just like a subtle highlight, like that lit from within look. I don't want chunky glitter, as much chunky glitter in my eyes as I would want, which is all of it, by the way. I just don't seem to want that like on my cheeks. Or on my face, but I do like looking glowy and lit from within. So I think that the highlighter that comes in this little duo is like one I would enjoy. Up next, I've got the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronzer in the shade Tan-Tastic. I feel like I love bronzer, and this one is one that I've been seeing all over the internet, and me wants. Up next is something that I'm really tempted to pull the trigger on this one. Like I feel like I might. And that is the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, the Illumination version though. So this is like the glowy version of the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. So even though it's a CC cream, it's full coverage. Like it is a full coverage foundation, even though it's technically a CC cream, and it's glowy and it feels like right up my alley. Like I feel like with just a little bit, considering it's full coverage, I feel like it would give me the coverage that I'm really looking for. And yeah, it's just something that I've been looking at for years. And I don't know, maybe it's time to pull the trigger soon. I don't know. If I keep on saying this about everything, I'm going to spend $1,000 on Sephora, and let me tell you, Mr. Smith would not like that. So I'm just going to keep on fantasizing. Up next is the Aether Beauty Crystal Charged Cheek Palette. So I love Aether Beauty. So I by no means would say that I'm like a clean beauty expert or like even like a everything that I own is clean beauty. Absolutely not. But in general, given the option, I would rather buy something that's cruelty free, that is clean, and that is vegan, just because I feel like those are like good things. And I just love Aether Beauty. I have their Rose Quartz palette, eyeshadow palette, and I love it. It was definitely not a cheap purchase, but I really do love it. It's something that I reach for on a daily basis. I feel like it has some really just great shades. It's incredible quality. Like, I don't know how, like, it is the most amazing quality eyeshadow. Like, literally it stays put all day long. The shimmers are to die for. The mattes blend gorgeously. Like, I love Aether Beauty. So I feel like this Crystal Charged Cheek palette is like right up my alley. It's like two really beautiful looking blushes and a gentle highlight, like a not super intense highlight. That's what it looks like, at least. And I feel like I would, I'd really like this. So yeah, we're about to dive in to eyeshadow land. Okay, I've got 3 palettes here. The first palette that I added is one that I've been looking at for years, and it is the Tartelette In Bloom Clay Eyeshadow Palette. So this eyeshadow palette kind of has like, the whole thing is that each row is like a color story that you would use like an eye look for the whole row, but obviously you can do whatever you want. But it's intended that the colors in the row all go together. And I don't know, there's something about this palette that is just so cool and beautiful. And I don't know, it's like kind of, some of the rows are cooler tone, some are warmer tone. One of my best friends just got it and she made me very jealous, and I feel like I want it too. It just seems like a really nice everyday palette. But again, I feel like I always say that about palettes, like it's a great everyday palette, and then all my palettes look the same. So I make an effort to always, when I buy a new palette, like, is it fundamentally different from something else I have, just to make sure that I do get use out of my collection. But I don't know, there's something about that Tarte palette that I feel like I'm very into. Okay. The next 2 palettes I've literally, again, been looking at for a long time, and so many people have them and I want them, and they're 2 Nastasia Beverly Hills palettes. One's the Soft Glam Eye palette and the other one's Modern Renaissance, and I just feel like they're both so beautiful. They both definitely have like very like everyday like shades, but they also both each have like really beautiful like pops of color that I feel like recently, like I've been really into like pops of color on my eyes, like for summer. Like, look at this look. I would have never worn this like 3 years ago, never in a million years. And now I'm like venturing out into like more fun colors. So I feel like I would really get a lot of use out of these, and the quality seems amazing, and it's just one of those things that me wants. Moving on to a different brand, and that is Hourglass. So I do own 2 things by Hourglass. I own one of their bronzers, and I own their, it's kind of weird. It's not quite a setting powder, and it's not quite a highlighter. It's like a highlighting powder. I use it to set my under eye sometimes. I feel like as a highlighter, it does nothing for me. Maybe if I were a little lighter, but I don't know. But anyway, I do love the bronzer, so if I had $1,000, I would for sure splurge on the full size of the bronzer that I have. So I did buy that bronzer that I love, which is the Ambient Lightning Bronzer in the shade Diffuse Bronze Light in a mini. And I do that quite a bit. When there are products that I'm like, I want to test them, they're expensive, and I want to make sure that I get use out of them. And normally, like powder products, it takes you so long to go through them. That's kind of like a mini will do, but I've hit pan on the bronzer, and I would totally kind of finish that off, but I would buy a full size to replace it, because I mean, I'm wearing it today. It's like my everyday bronzer. I love it. It's amazing. I talk about it in every video. It's the best. And then following kind of that theme, I would like to try the Ambient Lighting Blush kind of powder. And I think I would get it in the shade Luminous Flush, which is like a champagne-y pink color, super glowy blush. I love my Benefit Coralista blush, which is like a peachy, Coralista, luminous blush, very shimmery, but not like, you don't see chunks of glitter. It's very like luminous. Anyway, the point is, this Hourglass one seems right up my alley. I feel like I would really love it. Considering how much I love the bronzer, I want to try the blush. Okay. Maybe, you know what? If I do end up getting that CC cream by IT Cosmetics, I might get the mini blush, because they do also make the Hourglass lightning blushes in a mini, and I feel like I go through bronzer faster than blush just because you should see me put on bronzer. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, whereas blush I definitely use a lot less. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. Okay, up next is the last thing that I have so far from Hourglass, and that is their Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow, and I have it here in the shade Smoke. So I feel like this would be especially for winter, such a beautiful shade just to add all over the lid and like buff it in everywhere. And that's it with a little bit of mascara. It's like a one kind of step, beautiful, smoky, wintry, glittery eye. I really like kind of cream eyeshadows. I own 2 from Maybelline and I really like them. I actually get quite a bit of use out of them. I especially like them for work, like if I'm just trying to get out the door really quick in the morning. So yeah, I love those and I would love to try this Hourglass one. And I know Charlotte Tilbury also has some, but I refrain since, you know, I gave Charlotte a lot of love here. I figured I would theoretically try the Hourglass one. Okay, something that I definitely like, I don't know, like I would say I like am more willing to splurge on are face products just because like I do have some, like I've got like normal to dry skin, but it's definitely acne prone and it gets upset really easily and I have some redness and you know, it's just one of those things where I don't have bad skin, but I wouldn't say that my skin is like the best either. So I feel like splurging on things like foundation and especially things that go under my eyes to, you know, I have quite a bit of fine lines and I've got dark under eye circles, like anything to make my face look healthy, like I'm kind of willing to splurge on. So something that I've been looking and seeing all over is the Lancome, and I'm going to butcher this because French is not the language that I speak, Tint Idole, maybe, long wear foundation. I just have heard beautiful things about this foundation. It sits on the skin beautifully. It's like not super luminous, but it's not like super matte and drying either, which those foundations just like do not work for me. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would like to test that just because I'm always on the hunt for like the perfect base routine because I feel like eyeshadow, in my opinion, can be more forgiving, but bad foundation or foundation that looks bad on me or on you or on whoever, it's just not forgiving. Like if it looks crappy, it just looks crappy. I also love NARS, and over the years I've owned NARS products. I'm like looking at my collection, like do I have anything NARS right now? I don't think so, but this Orgasm Oiled Infused Lip Tint is like speaking to me. I'll be fully transparent. Lips are just like the thing that I just want the easiest thing, okay? Like I can spend a long time doing my eyeshadow and I really enjoy it, but my lips, there's just something, I hate reapplying lipstick. Like now I'm obviously working from home, so I don't really mind as much, but like if I'm going into the office on a daily basis, like I don't want to have to go to the bathroom and reapply lipstick. And I want to be able to eat and drink and not have to worry about my lips. So things like this, like it's an oil infused lip tint, like that's something that I wouldn't mind as much keeping in my bag and just like reapplying, and it's kind of hydrating and glossy, and it just seems a lot more effortless than like lining my lips and putting on a lipstick. Like that just to me seems like the biggest effort in the world, even though it's like obviously not that much effort, but I don't know. I really like easy lip products that you can reapply, and if you don't reapply them, it doesn't look crappy. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very intrigued by these oil infused lip tints, or like, yeah, I don't know. Do I want it? I want it, but I'm not gonna get it because this whole cart is $1,000. You know what I could do with $1,000? Anyway, moving on. The next thing I have, speaking of flawless bases, is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Longwear Concealer. This is something that, again, I've seen online people using it, and I've heard just that it sits beautifully on the under eye and that it's fairly high coverage, which is something that I need because my under eyes are dark. So yeah, I don't know. I've always been kind of intrigued by this one. So yeah, the next one, speaking of dark under eyes, is the Bobbi Brown Under Eye Corrector. So I own a few color correctors for under my eyes, and I actually wear them most days. Most days I have to use a corrector under my under my concealer to really conceal the darkness under my eyes. Like today I'm wearing a corrector, a peach corrector. I'm wearing my Peri Peri one, which is the one I've been using daily recently, and I really like it. And it allows me to use a lot less concealer, which makes my under eyes look a lot less cakey. So I'm always on the search for a great under eye corrector, and I've heard amazing things about the Bobbi Brown one. And what I think is really cool is that they have like different shades of peach depending on your complexion. So I selected the shade Light Bisque, which seemed to be like, because I'm not fair, I have light skin, but I wouldn't say I have fair skin. So this one seemed like the right color for me. Okay, moving on, the next item is a skincare item, and that is the Tasha Dewy Skin Cream. So I love skincare. Definitely my love for beauty very much started with skincare, just because my mom loves skincare and has always actually worked in the skincare industry. She moved on to like also doing makeup later in life, but originally she's always kind of been in the skincare world. So yeah, I love nice skincare and like luxurious skincare, and generally for my everyday routine, I try to incorporate products that are like more clean, cruelty-free, or like kind of along the more natural-ish route, and also very much things that are like something that I guess influences me is like, did a dermatologist recommend this? So like CeraVe, for example, I don't think is cruelty-free anymore. However, it's one of those brands that like dermatologists highly encourage. So that's something that gives me confidence that it's like good for my skin. But man, there's something about like fancy, you know, skincare that's like, that I just love. I have randomly smelled the Dewy skin cream a long time ago when I was like at an actual Sephora, like pre-everything. And it just smelled so good, and it looks so beautiful and gorgeous. And I've seen people use it under makeup and it peeks through, and it's just, I want it. But it's $70, well, $68, I rounded up. But with taxes, I bet it would come up to over 70. So yeah, maybe one day. Up next, and this item is definitely inspired by Sarah Rose, who posted her version of this video, and that is a beauty blender. I've actually never owned an actual beauty blender. I've always owned like dupes, you know, like more affordable options. I always thought the $20 for a makeup sponge seemed aggressive. But you know what? If I had $1,000, what's $20 anyway? Like, that's just chump change, right? So I'd throw one of those in. The next item that I would throw in, we're back to makeup, is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Blurring Powder Foundation. And I will not use this as a powder foundation, or maybe I would, but the main intent of this one is to actually use it to set my under eyes. I've seen people do this, and it's beautiful. It's blurring. It adds a little bit extra coverage, which I love that. But yeah, it seems like so good, and I want it. Okay, the last 3 items here in my cart, we are nearing the end, are all skincare. For skincare, as I said, I normally go for like, did a dermatologist endorse this? Is it affordable? Because obviously I do my skincare every day. So I generally just haven't bought a lot of like really fancy, expensive skincare. But a brand that I am fascinated with is Drunk Elephant. And in particular, this TLC Framboos, kind of an odd name, glycolic resurfacing night serum just sounds like what I want and what I need. So at night, I actually use the glycolic acid toner before doing the rest of my evening skincare. So I just feel like this night serum is kind of like I could use a different toner, like a hydrating toner, and then use this resurfacing night serum to make my face just feel like so soft in the morning. I don't know, I'm into it. And then the next item is by another brand that, again, I've never tried because their skincare is fairly expensive, and that's Ole Henriksen. And I put in there the Banana Bright Eye Cream. Eye cream is one of the things that I just always on the search for the best eye cream. Again, I've got lines under my eyes, I've got darkness, and I want to wear a night cream at night that really kind of hydrates and moisturizes and helps me fill in those little fine lines. And then during the day, something that sits beautifully under my makeup so my makeup doesn't look cakey. And this one just, I just love the bright. I need brightness in there. So yeah, that one is just something that, I don't know, I just threw it in there. And then last but not least is the Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen. SPF 40. So I don't know, Supergoop kind of caught me by surprise. Like all of a sudden to me it was a thing. It went from like I had never heard of Supergoop to all I hear about is Supergoop. Do you guys feel similarly to that? Like I don't know, they to me came out of left field, but I'm here for it. I'm intrigued. I mean, I wear sunscreen every single day. I don't necessarily buy sunscreen separate to my moisturizer. What I do is that for my day cream, I always look for a day cream that has SPF. That's kind of like a requirement for me. If it has no SPF, I just don't use it during the day unless I were to then get a sunscreen. But in general, I've just always gotten like the combo situation just because I wouldn't say I'm lazy, but it's just easier, okay? So, but yeah, this like Supergoop situation, like I'm fascinated. It's clean and it's just something that I'm like, do I want to pick that up? And that's on, it's $34. I feel like that's affordable for sunscreen. So I don't know, I might pick that one up. Guys, that added up to $999.50, and that's before taxes. Obviously shipping would be free on this order. But yeah, I mean, let me tell you, I had a lot of fun doing this because I practice restraint because I can sometimes be a little bit of a petulant child and be like, I want, and I want to buy it all. And it's fun to kind of put it in your cart and like pretend like you're gonna buy it, but then you don't. But now I like want all of these things, so I don't know. How should I handle this? Anyway, I would love to hear what you guys would buy if money were no object. Either film this video or let me know down in the comments, because I'm like fascinated to see like what are the things that people are like holding back on, you know, like what are the things that you're just not buying because you're trying to be more conscious about where your money goes. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, friend.